Hello, and welcome to today's lesson on radiation dose and its associated risks. We will start today's lesson by learning what a radiation dose is and how it's measured. We will then discuss the effects and uses of low doses of radiation. Next, we will consider the impacts of moderate doses of radiation. Finally, we will examine the consequences of high doses of radiation. So far, we have looked at the concept of radiation damage. You have learned how radiation can harm living tissue and the mechanisms of this damage. Building on this foundation, we can now delve deeper into the idea of dosage and how it impacts the extent of damage caused by radiation. This will enhance our broader comprehension of how physics applies to real-world scenarios involving radiation. Let's get started. To start, let's understand what is meant by the term radiation dose. A radiation dose is the measure of the amount of radiation absorbed by a person's body. This measurement allows us to evaluate the potential risk associated with that exposure. The unit for measuring radiation dose is called the sievert, symbolized as SV. Because a sievert is quite large, most radiation doses we encounter are expressed in millisieverts, abbreviated as MSV. This is 1,000th of a sievert. Low doses of radiation are those below 10 millisieverts. Typically, low doses have minimal immediate effects on the body. These can include background radiation, which comes naturally from the environment. However, repeated exposure to low doses over time can slightly increase the risk of developing cancer. As an example, a single X-ray in a hospital exposes you to a low dose of radiation and is generally safe. However, medical professionals who operate X-ray machines regularly wear protective gear to minimize their cumulative exposure and hence reduce their long-term health risks. Moderate doses of radiation range from 10 millisieverts to 1,000 millisieverts. Exposure in this range is likely to damage the cells in the body and can cause health issues. These doses are unlikely to be fatal, with a person exposed to moderate radiation generally expected to recover completely. However, there is an increased long-term risk of developing serious diseases like cancers many years after exposure. High doses of radiation, such as those above 1,000 millisieverts, can cause severe health problems and may even be fatal. Such high doses can result from events like nuclear accidents. At these levels, radiation can cause extreme damage to the gastrointestinal system, preventing the gut from absorbing nutrients effectively. This malfunction can lead to the failure of vital organs such as the heart and lungs. In the long term, high doses also harm bone marrow, which is crucial for producing blood cells. Our red blood cells are completely replaced roughly every 4 months. Without a functional bone marrow, the body cannot generate enough new blood cells, leading to a deficiency in oxygen delivery to organs and potentially resulting in death. Understanding these categories helps us grasp the importance of safety measures when dealing with radiation, ensuring that exposures remain as low as reasonably achievable to safeguard health. In today's lesson, we discuss the concept of radiation doses and the associated risks. We began by defining a dose as a measure of the amount of radiation absorbed by an organism, measured in sieverts or more commonly millisieverts. We then examined the risks linked to different levels of radiation exposure, low, moderate, and high doses. By understanding these concepts, we can better appreciate the importance of monitoring radiation exposure and the measures needed to protect against harmful effects. This knowledge is crucial for comprehending the broader implications of background radiation in our environment.